back to another edition of the Soft Dump in the Corner podcast, presented as always by North Six Sports. Joined today, Luke. What a tough outing. We'll get right to it. For everybody who can't see on the video form, both of us are representing our Toronto Blue Jays. He's got the hat, I got the jersey, and I just want to say, what a run. What a
Yeah.
run. We're just going to
Oh, yeah.
jump right into this one here. I know we're a bit of a hockey podcast, but let's give our flowers to the local squad. What were your thoughts, buddy? I mean, dramatic run, very dramatic run. You could tell the entire country was behind them. It was such a fun run in the sense of they were pretty well the underdogs almost the whole time, whether
Yeah.
they had home field advantage or not. I think that it's certainly implied by the MLB gods or the baseball gods, for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
They just probably weren't expected to do what they did. And
Yeah.
those always make those runs more special. I kind of always go right back to the Raptors 2019 run in the sense of how much similarity this one would have had. What's your thought? They came a little bit short, but give me
Yeah.
your couple cents or give us a couple cents on there, your 2 cents of what
Yeah.
occurred and just the heartbreak with the Blue
Yeah.
Jays.
Yeah, I know it's been a hard 3, 4 days. We're right there. You could just almost touch it. Obviously a lot of plays during the game that could have been those what ifs, like what if, Pahe bumped into Kiki and the ball dropped? What if IKF got to home plate when Will Smith had his foot up for that half second? There's just so many what ifs, but you nailed it right on the head. It was a great time to watch baseball. I feel like really got to love the game of baseball again, and I feel like for me, maybe for a lot of people, I haven't had that just because the Jays have been up and down. We get into playoffs, we get beaten quick 2 3 games, but um, you know the passion for the game and the players in that locker room gave it everything they had. It was a weird kind of situation where it was like you want to be mad and sad because we didn't come out victorious against the super team of the LA Dodgers. But again, you made a good point. It's no one expected them to be there. We're usually the last little while since 2015 when we were both in college watching the Jays with the Bautista era. Um, it was nice to see, and it was a lot of fun. And the whole country was behind us. The players were giving it their all. Thought maybe we'd be down, down 2-0 in the Seattle series. The boys rallied back, ended up winning that series. Like it just felt like we were always coming from behind, and it was awesome. It was just nice to see that they just gave it their all, and you can't really be mad at a team that you know almost got her done. And as crazy as it sounds, I thought for Blue Jays altogether, I thought it was a successful season altogether. Like no one expected, like we said, to get to the World Series, and the viewership came out today between Canada, U.S., and Japan. There was 51 million people watching Game Seven.
Holy shit.
Nuts.
That
So
is wild. I mean, obviously, when you're playing for the country versus playing for a state or
yeah,
whatever the specific area, mainly in the United States, um, it's wild too. I mean, you brought up the Pahez, whatever his catch.
yeah.
Did you see recently? I think he went on to the
Jimmy
late night
Fallon.
show or something like that, and he said for anybody who didn't catch that, basically Pages was laughing with Kiki Hernandez because apparently Kiki Hernandez, the guy he made the collision with, when they
Yeah,
came together, Kiki fell and he thought it was over. He basically said, I put my head down because I didn't make that catch, thought I dropped the ball, didn't think we got it. He thought it was over, dude. Turns around and just fucking Pages, look what
yeah.
I
He's
got,
like, I
so
got her.
pretty cool moment there too. I can only imagine in a matter of 3 or 4 seconds the amount of emotion that would have went
I
through
know.
Hernandez. But fuck the Dodgers. But
Yeah,
basically, I was going to bring that up too. I mean, you talked about the Jose Bautista incident or walk off or
yeah.
or home
The
run, I
era.
should say. It
Yep.
wasn't a walk off there. Um, And I just remember it vivid as day. You, me, the boys, are about what 12 of us in the basement, huddled around the projector screen, crushing a few brewskis, probably some Pabst Blue
Just a
Light,
few.
something really bad, some JR, something like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just remember, man, like that was only the DS. I mean, that wasn't even the CS, that wasn't
I
even the World
know.
Series. And we thought so much and so highly of that team. And then you see what the Jays did, and they really came together as a unit, man. Like that was the coolest part. It wasn't, a bunch of credit cards put together in a wallet, the Dodgers. And it was just nice to see. I mean, obviously we have some players that weren't homegrown, but we've got a lot of players that were homegrown and a lot of players that were not meant to do what they were supposed to do. The couple trades last year that brought in a few pieces like Clement and, I think Lo Perfido, some of
Mhm.
those, non-sexy big names. And it's just so nice to see, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was not the biggest fan of Shapiro and Atkins's decisions over the last few seasons.
Like nobody was.
Of course, right? But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, they put together a franchise or a team. I would argue a franchise. They rebuilt what the Blue Jays should be for the standard that you and I had watched and just talked about from 2016.
Yep.
So just really cool to see. I mean, there's a lot of good points there that we could, absolutely go over and chat about, but
Yeah.
came up short, man. And by short, we mean 2 inches, right? We all know what that looks like.
I mean, 2
But,
inches is pretty big, but
man, oh, man, just to
baseball.
hear both sides of the Kiner Falefa thing it's hard
Yeah.
because from a fan's perspective, from a viewer's perspective, you watch the replay and you're like, "Why wasn't he off the base? Why wasn't he this? Why wasn't he that?" And then you hear the management come out and say, "We told him to be that close. We didn't wanna get doubled. We did whatever." So,
Yeah.
part that bugs me the most, and of course, we'll get into hockey here, folks, so I apologize if you're waiting to hear some Leaf talk. That's coming right up. But I just think of that, and I just think of valuable lessons that John Schneider learned, that the players learned, that everybody can take away from it. Is
Mhm.
when you're in that situation, when you're in the World Series, and then you're in Game 6, then you're in Game 7, and you're at home, and you have these opportunities to put these teams away. You cannot play scared to win.
No, you're
You
completely wrong.
cannot play safe. In those particular circumstances, those situations, you play to win, right? Well, what was that infamous NFL coach? We play to win the game. You know what I mean? Like I think of that and I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, we're 90 feet away, we're 1 out away or whatever. Like I can't remember the certain six. I think we were, whatever that late in the game. You're on third base, bases are loaded.
Yeah.
You got to play to win the game. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I would so much rather you play riskier and then have that happen when you're at that particular time in the series
Yeah.
than to say you're holding a guy back and he's 2 inches away when all you needed to say was if you get that solid lead, we're parading in 2 days, right? So
Yeah, I think game 6 though, when Barger was picked off and that double
oh,
play,
brutal.
and I think that's where it's like, I think it's like, "All right, let's not get caught up in that situation again." But
And you
I
get in your mind, you get in that 6
right.
inches between your ears is
Yep,
basically what cost
yep.
the Jays. I don't think it was necessarily, it wasn't the bullpen, which we thought could have been. It wasn't necessarily the offense, but you're right, man. It's just like you play scared to win, you get those things caught in your head and those impact that, right? But anyway, super quick just to finish off on a positive note. Shane Bieber exercising that 16 million to come back. It's a huge first step.
That's huge.
I think as a whole, it still keeps interest in the Jays. It keeps interest in free agency, but it also keeps that team believing that it wasn't a one-off, right? It
Yep.
wasn't just like some teams that go and they win a series, two series, whatever, and then they're like, okay, we're blowing up the team.
Yeah.
Obviously, they thought that something was here, and as a whole, a pitcher of his caliber, his quality, he probably could have, gathered quite a bit of interest and probably left quite a bit of money on the table. So
I think he coulda got 150 in free agency.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you're leaving tens upon millions, tens of millions of dollars on the table.
yeah.
Is one thing, but to do it and come to Toronto and stay in Toronto,
That makes me feel good.
I think it means a lot. I think it
Yeah.
really does, right? And it's interesting too, because I mean, there's cross comparisons in a lot of sports now where team or guys or players in particular are starting to take pay cuts. I think they're realizing the significance of winning a championship,
Mhm.
right? Like, um, obviously McDavid's a prime example. I mean, he
Yeah.
can take pay cuts and he can put up 1,100 points and fourth all time fastest and do all these things. It don't mean shit if your ring finger ain't heavy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. I mean, if unless there's anything else, particularly on the Jays, I know you and I were pretty jumped about that.
Yeah.
I will say actually just one last thing. Going to game two,
Yeah.
Yamamoto was just absolutely lights out. I
A
mean, that
dog.
is a pitching performances plural.
He comes
That
in game 6 and 7. What?
and you're throwing over
What?
100 pitches in each game and
Yeah.
striking out guys and just completely owning the plate. Um, I will say though, man, that's one of the earliest. How do I phrase this? That might be the earliest in-game experience that I knew the outcome in
Yeah.
that game. So to kind of say a little bit different,
Kinda had that feeling
you
too.
knew that that game was over after the first inning.
Yep.
That the Rogers Center, you could hear a popcorn fart in that place for
Mhm.
about 6, 7 innings. So it's unfortunate. It was a really, really cool experience. Shout out CP for asking me to go there. Really, really cool experience to be able to say I saw a World Series game.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate for what I did get to see, based purely on the actual gameplay. But
Mhm.
yeah, man, really cool to say that I've been to see one like that. But boy, oh boy, was it ever wild to sit there and say this game's over after the first, basically, or at least it felt
Um,
that way, right? So,
yeah.
anything else on Jays?
One last thing. It's more of a question, really. I think Beebs obviously, exercised his player option to stay with the
I know where
Jays.
you're going with this.
And I think with, how the team did and kind of where we've put ourselves now on the map, where I think we're obviously a contender. We're fucking 2 inches away from a World Series title against one of the best teams probably of all time. We'll be honest with you. Is this gonna help push maybe some free agencies our way? Maybe some players that are like, maybe Toronto is now on my map, or is it solely a country thing where it's like, yeah, now I got to get my visa to go play in Toronto, and then I don't know if I want to go live up in the cold. Like, I
I
really
think
hope that kind of pushes that, and Beebs being like a front runner of a guy who's like, yeah, I want to play here because I love it here, and the fans are great, and our team is like a family.
I think the short answer is yes. I don't think any player or anybody in their right mind would sit there and say that they didn't have a chance to win.
Hmm.
Um, I would even argue that probably at least 51-49 would say the Jays were the better team. The one thing I would say, just to answer your question about money, is we have a very unique situation on our hands in the sense of Bo Bichette,
Yep.
where I think they realized, well, I think they know. I mean, Bo Bichette's an elite batter. He's
Yep.
an elite player, sure. He can't play shortstop. He's
Yeah.
not like he can play shortstop, sure. Who's he going to play it for is the biggest question. Um, is he worth the money that he's going to get? I'm sure in value to a franchise, the answer is yes. And what he can bring at the plate, excuse me, yes. He's an elite hitter. He's an elite. Obviously we saw he was injured. His base running was unfortunate for us
Yeah.
because I truly believe that impacted the game significantly. To answer the question about money and re-signing and free agents, I think that answer needs to be or that question needs to be resolved first before we can make any decisions. If Bo decides that he wants to go, is that the Blue Jays calling you up for a free agent deal?
Shapiro, how
It's
crazy is
Shapiro. Yeah, he wants you to play shortstop next season.
that?
So I think once that chip falls, the decision ultimately,
Yeah.
I don't know the date of when it opens, but I think just ultimately once that chip does fall, whether Bo decides to stay or go, do we pay him the money to be our shortstop? Do we pay him and possibly he's okay transitioning to second base?
Yeah.
We made the mistake years ago of letting Semyon walk because we thought Bo could be the starting shortstop. He played those games, but ultimately, and I think most importantly, I just don't think he's going to be an elite shortstop down the road too. So do you
Yeah.
allocate that money elsewhere? Can you allocate the money elsewhere? And like there's big names in baseball free agents every single season, every single sport. Um, I do believe that ship needs to fall first for them to make the decision. But you never know, man. Maybe next week you might find out that there's great interest from many positions, and maybe you know maybe if even if not Toronto, maybe you get a team that loads up to say screw the Dodgers. This is not going to happen. AKA the Yankees. We're probably going to have a Yankees Dodgers final again next year. But
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that works. But I sure hope so. I
Yeah.
really do hope so. I think the Max Scherzers of the world coming over here and having an ultimately not a career year in the sense of statistics and numbers, but
Yep.
just career year. I would argue in the sense of like most enjoyment. I saw
Yeah.
his wife, I
His
believe,
wife.
posted something the other day, just saying, we didn't know what to expect from Toronto, but it was one of the best decisions that they had ever made. Toronto as a whole, I don't think many players will sit there and be like, Toronto didn't treat me well. They might be hard on you in terms of the media and the fans. Like, ask the Leaf players, ask Marner, ask anybody who's ever played
Uh,
in Toronto. Even the Argonauts players take shit. Like, that's just the way Toronto is. They're a crazy sports town, and you wouldn't want anything less. I don't mean in the wrong way, but it would be nice to play in Florida in your flip flops and go to
yeah.
work every day in shorts. But I think it's cool too that you have a dedicated fan base for 98% of the year and not just 2% of the year that you're in playoffs.
100%.
Um, Take that with a grain of salt because winning trumps everything, of course, right? So,
Yep.
um,
100%.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a long winded answer on that one. Do you have anything else that you wanted to point out on that particular question there?
No, that's everything. I'm like, you know, I gotta line up a new jersey. I'm gonna buy a new jersey
I
next year.
bought a Treyu Savage jersey
Oh,
already. It's
I
coming.
was thinking either Trey or Ernie Clement. That guy's a dude.
Ernie,
I
that's my
love
boy.
Ernie,
I
dude.
fucking love Ernie. Yeah, you know
Him
what?
and Trey were up the top of my list.
He
So
he would probably be the one. I agree. I do like that. But I got the baby blue Savage.
nice,
Um,
dude.
I probably jinxed it because I bought the World Series one.
Oh yeah,
So
you buy it
we'll
at the J
see.
shop?
What's right?
At the shop? Did you buy it?
No,
Or you ordered it? Oh
dhgate.com,
yeah.
baby. Promo code N6 Sports. It won't work, but you can try it. So yeah, I got that one cooking, and that should be coming here in the next couple weeks, probably. But boy,
Nice.
was I ever hoping that they would have paid that one off and won it to be able to rock the World Series logo on that. But
Yeah,
either way, that kid was a stud, and I'm
dude.
really hoping he works out. We don't
Yeah,
need another Ricky Romero. We don't need another Alec Manoa. Like,
yeah,
we need a stud. All right. Let us have one. All right. And
yeah.
then we'll go from there. Right. Um, Anything else on Jace?
Nah, I think we should get into some hacky.
Hell of a season, boys.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us baseball. And as you pointed it out, Nutsy, thank you from North Six as a whole for getting us back into loving the game a little
Yes,
bit
sir.
more.
Yeah,
I think we took quite a while off from baseball, and you and I both had a rekindling of joy from them. So to watch baseball
yeah,
in November for a team you're cheering for is pretty special.
good.
It's the
Yeah,
same way as cheering for a hockey team in June. Don't take it for granted. Even though my
you've had a
poor
tough
old
one.
heart has now watched 3 finals in a row go to a game 7, a game 6, and a game 7, and we lost them all. R.I.P. Jordo, to my heart, to my soul, and long live sports, baby. Moving on to another Toronto sports team, because I'm sure you guys just want to hear about the Leafs here. You're dying to hear about the Leafs, and why not? You know how much I love talking about it. So I'll let you take away. What's your take on the start? Obviously, they've had some controversy, some up and down, some players not producing. They've had some wild comebacks. They've had some games where it looks like you and I could probably be playing out there. What's your take on the Leafs there? They rallied to beat the Pens the other night. down
Yep.
3-0, 8 shots through 2. They come back and win the game 4-3. Big Willie Nylander was a big part of that.
Yep.
Obviously, Matthews had a tremendous third period. Watching the first 2 periods, I think you and I had the same opinion on that. But what are your kind of thoughts quickly on the Leafs start? Is there a concern? Do you like certain things? Like, take that
Mhm.
away. Give me your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I overall, I think it's been a bit of a sluggish start, and I think like obviously the pressure. You're in Toronto, the highest, biggest hockey mecca in the world. But at the end of the day, like you got to have a good start in order for the fans to be behind you. And the minute the fans aren't behind you, like things could go south very, very quick. Luckily for the Blue Jays, sorry to come back to it, but luckily that them being in the World Series is kind of shadowed over Toronto fans in terms of like
Agreed.
the Leafs playing not very good hockey. I remember there was one night where Columbus beat the piss out of them, and I think the Jays either ended up winning that game in World. The World. I think that might have been Game One, maybe.
I think that was, yeah, game 1 or
Yeah,
something in that nature.
Game
Yeah,
One, and I was like,
Columbus laid us
well,
smack down.
yeah, good thing they won because the rest of the city would have friggin' burned down with the way the Leafs have started. It's very early in the season. I mean, I'm in the same boat with my Lightning. Like they couldn't get anything going. They've won the 5 of their last 6 now, so they have a bit of a jolt in their step to get going. The division is so close; like you could win one game, move up 4 spots. You lose a game, you're back near the bottom. Very tight. The Atlantic Division as a whole is very strong, 1 through 8. Now Montreal and Detroit leading the division, which is crazy. Again, very early, but it's Detroit to me was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think they were going to take that next step yet. Montreal was kind of getting there, making playoffs, and Demidov starting to play very good hockey, bringing in Noah Dobson to kind of solidify that back end. But overall, the Leafs, they are scoring, as I see, is 3.62 goals per game, but they are 28th in goals against and 30th on the power play at 12.1%. Like their power play in previous years have been like that high 20s, maybe low 30s. So I don't know if they're just missing the offense. Are they missing Marner? Is Marner that missing piece right now that they just can't find the offense in terms of playoffs, power play?
Well,
Um,
they're scoring.
that's the thing. They're scoring just not on the power play. So I don't know. Overall, maybe it's the slow start, hot finish. They get a good run in the playoffs because usually in every year they have a few bad games and then they really get going and then they kind of fall apart again. So maybe different trends for the Leafs this year. I know it's a tougher division. A lot of teams are getting better now. Like like the Anaheim Ducks, for example, are very good. I know it's not the same conference, but the teams that were very bad in the last few years are starting to play better. They're starting to develop their players. So as a whole, like I don't think there's many like very bad teams anymore. So just a lot of talent spread out through the league, but will be kind of interesting to see what trend the Leafs want to take. And yeah, they're on a 3 game heater. They play Utah tonight, so it'll be a good test for them because Utah's had a good start in the year.
Yeah. So there were about 5 things I wanted to interject there, and I'm just trying to see if I can get them all out and spit them out here. First and foremost, can you name the team, technically teams, but team that is in dead last in the Eastern Conference?
Florida.
Florida Panthers. Mind you, as you pointed out, wow, wow, they are essentially 2 points out of playoffs, which
Mhm.
is wild when you look
Yeah.
at wild card 10, so call it 16 up through wild card 1.
Mhm.
There's 2 points there basically between them and the Leafs. As you pointed out, the Leafs are 1 win away from being 3rd place in the Atlantic. Right. So, dude,
It's
again, I know we're 13 games in, sure.
Yep.
But if you look at some of the teams down in the Western Conference, it's significantly different. I mean,
Totally.
Calgary, 8 points, St. Louis, 10 points, San Jose, 11. I mean, yeah, as you pointed out, the East is very strong to start the season. Um, Obviously, a lot of teams are going on some pretty heavy road swings right now, a lot of back to backs. The Olympics are here, folks. You're going to get that. It's a very condensed schedule. So there is not time to lose, right? I mean, I don't mean it in a rhetorical way, but like that every game really is mattering significantly more. Because if
Yep.
you go on a heater for 2-3 days, you win 3 in a row, that's 6 points right away. You're playing bad for a week. Maybe someone gets injured, goalie gets hurt, goalie's off 1-2 games. You can lose or gain points very quickly right now, as we've been seeing. And as you pointed out, I mean, the Leafs, as much as it seems like they're up and down, I mean, through 13, they're 7-5-1. Like I said, they're in the wild card spot, only a point behind Boston as of now, incredibly early, but
Mhm.
wild to see just how tight the Eastern Conference is. A couple teams that are a little shocking. I named you one. Florida Panthers dead last in the East. That is not going to hold. Hope it does. Washington down there, basically second last as well. 13 points in 12 games. You got to think they're going to turn it around. Do you think that whole last season was an anomaly because they were playing for Ovi? Could have been.
Okay.
New York Rangers, like, why are they down so bad, right? There's a lot of teams, and then flip-flops, as you pointed out. I mean, you got Montreal sitting atop the East. You have friggin' Anaheim, as you pointed out as well,
Anaheim.
leading the Pacific. Like, there's a lot of really cool stories in the league right now, which I think is great. But I want to ask you, do you think how this is great? Do you think the everybody being so close in standings and stats, is it good, or are we just starting to realize that the league is getting watered down? Right? Like, is the
Yeah.
hockey, are we demanding the skill? Are we demanding the talent? All these players, all these young kids are getting into the lineup quicker than ever these days and
Yep.
flushing out the old vets.
Mhm.
Is the hockey better? Is it that the league's watered down? Or is there just simply more parity in the league? Like, is it the fact that some of these young kids coming in, or, maybe some of these free agents deciding to go to these off market teams? Is that the case? Right. So, me personally, watching some hockey right now, I'm disgusted. Like, it looks like my Sunday night shinny out there most nights, to be honest with you, man. Like, the back checking, the recognition, and specifically the defensive zone. I mean, is every single coach in the league offensive nowadays?
Yeah.
Is there no, Barry Trotzes and, solid shutdown defensive coach, the Babcocks, I mean, I can go on and on, but like, you're starting to see, like, it's just simple focus, one
Mhm.
gear, go. You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
kind of, to me, it's like, it's interesting to watch in the sense of, okay, it's fast, it's skilled, it's whatever, but physicality's gone, the defensive structure's gone, the responsibility, the liabilities, like, everything that you see out there, it's take with grain of salt, of
Yeah.
course, too. But I like the old days where you'd get rough and tough hockey, you'd get a couple good hits, you'd have a lot of guys shot blocking, you have a lot of things there, but you don't see that as much anymore. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just it's a bit eye-opening for me in the sense of being a bit more of a traditionalist for the game and just really appreciating, having played and understanding how hard it is to win. And obviously I didn't do it at a very high level, but I
Mhm.
can say that I did that. And I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily the best on my team, but I can certainly sit there and say that it takes the team effort to do that. So, point being, as a whole, like, I wonder if it's the parity of the league, or if it's just simply that because we've got 32 teams now, you're not going to get as good of teams and as good of caliber play.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I said the league, I think two more teams is 23 guys a roster plus some scratches times two. So you're like, let's call it 50. And then their AHL teams, affiliate teams, is another 23 in each roster. So yeah, there's more opportunity, I think, for these players to crack these lineups. Absolutely. I think the game is evolving and changing in a way where it's not as physical, like you said. It's more highly skilled, and look what I can do with the puck versus a lot of it's the IQ of knowing your surroundings, knowing how to play in the defensive end versus the offensive side too. So yeah, the game definitely has changed. I do miss, like you said, I do miss a lot of like those big hits and everything, but I know there's a lot more involvement in being careful with, hits to the head and after effects of taking too many hits with CTE and everything too. So that probably takes a piece on why games evolving and changing in a way where hitting isn't as frequent, or like heavy hits aren't as frequent, and fighting's kind of, it's still there, don't get me wrong, but it's obviously nowhere near where it was. Not every team has a heavy guy, like that's kind of on the back burner these days. So yeah, and there's games where I enjoy watching, seeing the skill of a lot of these young guys, and then some games are just like you said, like it's just pond hockey out there. Like what are we watching?
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I completely agree with you in the sense of like keeping these guys healthy and
Yeah.
obviously our star players specifically. You never want to see the guys go down. And I bring it up quite often. It's not always just regular season or their home NHL teams that you got to worry about. Obviously, when these guys go over and play Olympics or do World Juniors or whatever the international play is, you run the risk of that. And as we always bring up the Tavares example, when he basically got injured playing international hockey, that took out the Islanders' chances of really doing anything.
Hmm.
That one specific year in particular. So yeah, like I agree. I don't think that injuries are ever fun, but I also think too that you're making such good money and whatnot too. I think you should have to earn your spot and earn your keep. And if there's somebody else out there, then I think you're going to lose your spot and chance there too. So I think the leashes are a little bit shorter than they have been as well, especially with young kids. Back in the day, if you were a first rounder, it used to say like, we don't care, see you in the AHL, or
Hmm.
unfortunately for a lot of Canadians, seeing back in junior for that year until you're eligible for pro hockey. So yeah,
Yep.
interesting there. Um, is just to kind of quickly move on, but I didn't want to move on without mentioning this, just to kind of go back with the Leafs here. So one more thing with the Leafs that I really did want to bring up is Auston Matthews and his goal scoring in particular.
Hmm.
So let me toss you with some knowledge here, real quick.
Hmm.
Matthews' career goals per 60, so per 60 minutes of the ice,
Hmm.
0.68. All right. He's currently at 0.12. Let me explain it a little bit further here, okay? In the years that he scored his 260 goal numbers, so one year he scored 60, he had a 1 goal per 60. In the year he scored 69, he had a 1.15 goals per 60. Removing those 2 years just to kind of throw off as the anomalies, if you will, for lack of better terms, they happen. They're not drawn up. I'm not
Hmm.
discarding the fact that he's a 69 and 60 goal scorer in this league. If you remove those, he's 0.58 goals per 60. So, AKA, relax, Leaf fans. He's going to score more goals. Okay. He's
Yeah.
going to. Will he ever get to a 60 goal pace again? I don't know. But
Mhm.
let me ask you something. Currently on this year's roster in this season, Matthews trails 5 players for goals per 60. Can you name those 5?
For just this year.
Just this year, just the Leafs, goals per 60.
Um, Mark Scheifele.
No, specifically the Leafs, pardon me.
Oh, sorry. I thought you
Yeah,
meant the league.
last I checked, I
Oh,
don't think he was on the Leafs, but I mean,
I misheard that. JT.
JT's number 1.
Okay. Willie Nylander.
Number 4,
Matthew Nyes.
nope.
No. Trying to think of going through the roster here. Who's
These
like
other 3 might surprise you.
trying to think who the hell's on the roster.
For the sake of keeping the
Nick
podcast
Nick
rolling,
Robertson.
Jake, yeah, and Jake Robertson. Jake, not
Oh, Nick
quite.
Robertson.
Yes, Nick Robertson
Oh
is
yeah.
number 3.
Okay. And is it Morgan Riley?
Morgan Riley is not on
No.
there. Number
He's
2, Callie Yarncroke,
huh.
and number 5, Bobby McMahon.
Bobby.
So, to say the least, there's quite a few players that are scoring goals at
Yep.
per 60 rate. But I'm telling you right now, those guys ain't going to continue at the rate they are. Maybe with JT Nylander, Robertson's always been a good 5-on-5 scorer. I'll give him credit to staying that. I wouldn't be shocked. My point being is they're better players, and best players need to be the best players.
Yep.
And Matthews isn't doing that right now. He doesn't look as dangerous as he has. He's not getting the chances he's used to, those high danger chances he's used to. I think he's got 2 goals in empty netters right now too, so that don't help. But my point being, just for reference, the league leader right now, currently, all of 12, 13-ish games in, Jack Eichel, currently leading the league, 2.58 goals per 60. Your best players need to be your best players. For further reference, there are 47 players in the league currently at 1.15 or higher. If we go back, 1.15 goals per 60 is Matthews' career high.
Yeah, it's early, but it's crazy.
Right. It's early. And I'm not saying that those
Yeah.
47 players are all going to score 50 goals, but there's a lot of players on that list that could very well score 40, could hit 50,
Oh yeah.
especially if the goals keeps increasing, because the goalies sure don't look very good anymore right now. So just interesting kind of tidbits there. There's obviously a lot goes into it. He's
Yeah.
currently a little bit below shooting percentage, excuse me, as well too. So you got to think that those are going to increase, but maybe it's time for us to stop assuming Matthews is a 50 goal scorer every single year is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that scoring 40 goals a year in the NHL is a schmuck, because that is elite level goal scoring.
Yes, it is.
But
We're just so used to
guys
him.
and
Yeah.
girls, gone are the days you can expect guys to score 60.
I
It's
know.
only happened a handful of times. I mean, it's probably happened. I should know this number when I'm bringing it up, but what, 20 times in the league, maybe all time that
At
it's
most.
that type of number. And then you look in the last like 10, 15 years, like Stamkos is kind of the one that brings to mind of being sort of that oldish kind of latest guy to do it. Obviously, there was 3 in the kind of 1 year with McDavid, Pasternak, and Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
Draisaitl's never hit 60, right? There's a lot of, Ovi's done it once, right?
60. He scored 65 or
Right.
60. Yeah,
Yeah.
65.
So he's done it once in his career. So Matthews has done it twice. Like, we got to appreciate that in what its
I
own
know.
right is. And like I said, just sometimes we can get a little bit carried away with what expectations can hold. And I think that can be very difficult for a player like him, where not only does he know the spotlight's on him, but he also knows that he's not producing at a level that he should. And all signs are pointing to different directions, and not just what's going on with the team. It's, well, he's
Mm-hmm.
the captain now. I am the captain now. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
interesting little tidbit that I found. Just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Just kind of as we talked about that and it kind of progressed into that one there. There's a lot of season left. He's very much the type of player that could score 8 or 9 goals in 4 or 5 games. Like, just don't, count it out. But maybe it's time to tamper the expectations just a little bit when it comes to Matthews, particularly. And then we'll kind of see where we're at. Anything else,
Yeah.
Leafers there?
Yeah, I got a few like on Matthews, the whole Matthews situation. I think there's a few things that like I think I've noticed where again the expectations are high, but one, the role of assuming being the captain is going to take some responsibilities, not just on the ice, but off the ice. And it's probably, taking a lot on his time. It's the Toronto, you're the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs is a huge deal overall and a great honor. If you look back at your past captains of the Leafs, there's a lot of legends on that list. But taking more time out of his life to do some of the things that the Leafs are asking for, and being that leader and being that captain. Uh,
Flying to Germany for late night massages.
yeah, yeah. So that's going to take some out of his game for sure. Two was the injury. I still think there's something that's no one's telling us. I think there's something, obviously, like you just said, he went to Germany. Something serious could be, causing him to not be at 100%. He says he's feeling, as best as he's been in a while, but at the end of the day, like, this is going to be a reoccurring thing. Like, I don't know what's going to really happen with his career overall. And
Just
three,
hope
it could.
it's not the Mike Bossy effect.
Oh God, I hope not.
Obviously, that was a back injury, significantly different, but,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we all think it's a wrist thing, but you're very right.
And then three could just be the way he's playing. I know he's playing a lot more defensively over the last couple of years. Could be something that Berube's kind of put in his brain that he got to be more of a 200-foot player, which is still great. Don't get me wrong, but like you mentioned, it's like it's the expectations that a lot of stupid Leaf fans have is like, yeah, he scores 60 twice, and they're like, yep, guaranteed 60 every year. But no, it's not the case. So those are my 2 cents. Like, kind of overall, I think there's a few things that may affect his game, but again, lots of hockey left, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and just to point out on that Berube comment, like I said it at the beginning of the year, I've said it for however many years. You need to play that way in the regular season. You need to be battle tested. You need to
Yep.
figure out your strategies and need to understand how to win in the playoffs. You can't figure that out the day the playoffs start. You need to be that team, that resilient team, that chemistry focus, that play for the guy beside you attitude. That's got to be there from game one.
Yep.
You're always going to have every player has 5 to 6 bad games a year. So what are you doing for them in that 76, 77 games? That's most important. You're going to have off nights. Maybe you're not feeling well. Something goes on in the family, like mentally something's wrong. You've had a long day, whatever. Like I said, but what are you doing for those 76, those 78 games type of deal? That's what I'm looking at here from them and seeing what they can do, because you look at teams like Montreal, you look at teams like Detroit, you look at teams like Utah, Anaheim. They don't have a Matthews. They don't have a star-studded lineup, team, whatever.
Not yet.
What's the excuse there? Or not excuse, but what's the solution, or what are we looking at there, right? So interesting on that one. Anything else particular in Leafland as a whole?
No, well, I'm just curious to see what the next 10 games kind of unfolds, to see kind of where they're situated. Like we said,
Yeah, like
it's
I think
very early,
US
but
Thanksgiving is always a big one to look
yeah,
for when it comes to hockey, just where you're at. There's always
Christmas time
the
is
odd
always a
team or
good one.
two. Oilers did it a couple years ago, going on the 16 game heater, whatever they did. Obviously, most infamously, excuse me, the 2019 Blues, dead last in
Mhm.
January. It can happen, right? It can happen. So obviously, not to discredit that. Let's jump into just Olympics as a whole. I wanted to ask you. We'll go into obviously a little bit greater detail because we do still have our second roster projection coming. Just in case you're listening and thinking, where is that, or haven't seen it, we are going to put that out. I think we just both agreed we wanted to see a bit of hockey this year to start.
Yep.
Four nations played a huge impact since we've discussed our last Olympic roster prediction. We've also had the off season. We've also had the first 12, 13 games this season. Is anybody, in your opinion, is anybody playing their way on or off Team Canada specifically roster? I wanted to name just a couple players, in my opinion, that I wanted to throw out there. Nick Suzuki, particularly.
Playing himself
Amazing
in.
start. Very, very hot start for him,
Yes.
leading the team. And I believe just not only in points, I think he's in points,
Yeah.
but they're winning. They're winning. And that goes a long, long way for me.
Yep.
Another player, and this is your guy, and you pointed out, I owe your love on this one. Here's your flowers, is Mark Scheifele. That
Yes.
guy's on a tear right now too. I will honestly say I would be shocked if they leave Scheifele off of this year's roster. I just think with him as a whole, just to kind of quickly dial in on his particular point there, is his 200-foot game is so good, man. Now it's just I think he's really settled into now that Blake Wheeler's gone, and now that Bufflin's out of that dressing room, Maurice is gone. Like a lot of those players or status guys or big, names in that room have gone. I think he's molded into that
Mhm.
guy now, alongside of Morrissey, alongside a couple of the others. So shout out Shifley, and I would shout out you too, Nutsy, for calling that one too, because I wasn't as big as you were on him. So definitely agree
Yeah.
with you on that one. And another one that I want to throw out there, the kid, Macklin Celebrini.
Oh my
This
god.
kid deserves a look just as much as every other player out there,
Yes, he
even if they
does.
give him the Sidney Crosby treatment where they just wanna bring him or not bring him and, whatever. Because I don't think Sid made that first Olympic team, right?
20 no, they
Or
were
or if he
2008,
was,
right?
he was just the, like, an extra or something like that, I believe.
2008, he didn't make it, no.
Right. So even if they want to bring Celebrini as a spare forward, a 13th forward, whatever, give the guy the chance to go and get that, experience playing with Crosby and McDavid and
So,
McKinnon. Let him just
2006.
practice and play around and do that. What's that? Sorry?
2006, not 2008,
Oh
2006.
six. You're right, because he was a
Yeah,
rookie that year,
rookie.
right? Give Celebrini that look. I'm telling you, like, there were a couple guys that we had both on our rosters that I think we would agree are simply not even in question anymore, which happens. It absolutely happens for better or worse, on or off.
Yeah.
But I do think those three guys I named there. Please feel free after I jump out here to name a couple more. But another one too is the goaltending. Bennington, Skinner, right? Like Logan Thompson looks solid, but
Yep.
our Canadian goaltending dude is like,
Just put me in
I'm
there.
Homer Simpsoning. If you can't see me, I'm Homer Simpsoning right now into the corner of the grass here. That's
Yeah,
that's
no
me.
kidding.
That's me with our Canadian goaltending. But on who is playing their way on or off for you right now?
On, you named a few already for me. I feel like it's across the board. I mean, anyone would have chose those 4 guys. Um, I think kind of coming off will be, well, Mark Stone. He's injured on the long term. He won't be there. Um, Poor Stammer. I don't know if he's just not finding his touch or groove in Nashville, but that guy needs to find a new home ASAP. Poor
I
guy.
agree. I don't think
Oh,
Nashville's done anything for that guy.
Zippo. Take 50% cut, bring him back to Tampa Bay. You'd lighten it up. Sorelli, he's played all right, but again, I think there's going to be other guys ahead of him now. Like a
What
lot of
about
center.
Bedard? 16 points in 13 games, six
I,
goals, 10 apples.
I think he's worth bringing in for a look as well. Like I don't think it hurts. Again, he's got a
I'll
lot
give
of
you
talent.
I'll give you one here. You have one roster spot to fill. Do you take Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini?
Celebrini, 100%. I don't
Pretty quick to answer. Do
no
you
thinking
think that's
twice.
more based on recency bias, or do you just believe that as a whole he can bring more to the table?
I think he plays more center, I think, than Bedard does. I think his overall game, his
Size
um,
is the one I think too
size
for
is
me.
big. For the Olympics, it's big.
The one thing
And
I say with Bedard though is it's not as big of a difference for me, I don't think, because you have the international ice. There's
mhm,
more space out there, and Bedard's also a righty shot.
mhm, mhm.
But I would be picking Celebrini as well, personally. But yeah, sorry if
I
there's anything
agree.
else on that. So interesting debate though.
It is a good debate. Yes, Celebrini's playing with some better players, but overall, I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like, yeah, Bedard puts up 80, 90 points this year. Absolutely fantastic year. I think Celebrini gonna do just the same. Like, honestly, like playing with Will Smith, you got older veteran players like Toffoli to learn off of and whatnot. And I listened to Revo was on Spin Chicklets, and he was just raving about Celebrini, just the way he approaches the game, how much work he puts in day after day. Like he says, it looked like Sid. And another thing to even top on that too is that Macklin Celebrini got to play with Sid in the World Championship, so he probably got to see the way Sid puts in the work day in and day out and what it
And
takes.
even too, just to top that off, I did see this summer Sid skate in I think Nova Scotia. I don't know where I think it's in Nova Scotia with
Yeah.
Nate and Marshawn and everything.
Yeah.
They personally invited Celebrini and Will Smith.
Nice.
So that's a little notch. If
Yes.
you're getting an invite from Sid,
The big
I,
boys.
I'd like to think
Woo!
that he sees something in you.
Yes.
I didn't get an invite from Sid to go for a skate. So I like to think that that means something to Celebrini to get a
Yep.
personal shout out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one to come up here in the next couple weeks because I know I can't remember the specific date, but I believe it either has or is very close to happening. There has to be a preliminary list sent to the league so that they can make sure the insurance purposes, they can do the drug testing, they can get all of their dots and T's crossed for anybody that could be potentially making these teams
I think it's
across the
December
leagues.
1st. I think it's
December
December 1st.
1st.
It's either the 1st or the 31st, and it's in December.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
So exactly that. It's not necessarily the entire roster, but they need to have um X amount of players listed so that that can happen. So these things are pretty well in place, right? So
We're
int-
missing we're missing a big one here. What about Matthew Schaefer? Does he get a look?
no, I
You
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so?
I don't think so, man. Like, I think you and I can both sit here and agree that
Yeah.
what he's doing as an
It's
18-year-old
incredible.
and as a defenseman are ridiculous. Um, he really doesn't seem to fit out of place, and he looks so comfortable. And the fact that he's only 18 and he's that poised and doing what he's doing, excuse me, very, very positive for New York Islanders fans, for the franchise. They're scoring a lot of goals right now. For some reason, it's Ilya Sorokin that's letting in some weird goals and some weak goals
Yeah.
every now and then. So I wonder if they can get things figured out. Could that be a sneaky team to make playoffs? Maybe playoffs.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see about that. But no, I agree with you. Definitely worth the consideration. But when you've got the likes of, Makar and Taves and Morrissey and the list goes on for solid Canadian defensemen,
Mhm.
I'd be interested to see if he gets the call, but I can't see it truthfully,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
imagine being eligible for World Juniors and a shot at the Olympics. How fucking crazy is that?
I mean, very rare. It's a rare group, right?
That's
Very, very
very
rare
rare.
group that you could say that's ever done that, right? Um, quick one here too. So, quick update on stats leaders. This is shocking to me, and I don't know why, but McDavid's first in points. That's not shocking to me. What is shocking to me is just how bad he's looked. And as a whole, the team has
Yeah,
looked like he's
yeah.
had his points, but a lot of them aren't the traditional McDavid setups and plays. Like he's only got 4 goals in 15 games, not shooting the puck at all. The other
Yeah.
night was the first time ever. I sent you that stat. First time ever that McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins have not recorded a single shot on goal
Oh, I
when
did
the
that. That
three of
was
them have been
wild.
playing together.
Yeah.
So not one shot on goal when the three of them have lined up in the game. That was the first time ever in that 10-year career of McDavid. That's just so unacceptable. So weird one for me to see that. Not shocking, but it's very shocking if you've watched as much as that. Your boy Shifley, second place, tied with Nathan McKinnon. How about that? The top 3 players, all Canadian. Shocker. Jack Eichel, 19 points in 12 games. Definitely slowed down a little bit from his rampant pace. But right up there, my boy Nick Suzuki,
Mhm.
19 points in 13 games. More importantly, they're 9-3-1. That's the most important thing. He's scoring at an elite level and they're
Mhm.
winning. And then your boy Geno Malkin, just to throw a quick shout out there.
Wow, what is that?
19 points in 14 games, throwing back the clock there, right? So
Woo!
shout out to those guys there.
Oh,
And then
oh,
last but not least, I just wanted to throw out this one here. So talking about just kind of best Canadian team, Montreal and Winnipeg have both won 9 games, but take this stat into consideration. Canadian teams, as of right now, on November 5th, combined record of 47, 38, and 10. To say that differently, they've only amassed 104 points in 95 games, Canadian teams. And that is with, like I said, Montreal's 9-3-1 record, I believe, 9-3-1, correct? And Winnipeg's 9-4-0. So to say the Leafs, the Oilers, the Canucks are struggling would be an understatement. I think
Yes.
Ottawa and Calgary are pretty well situated where we maybe thought they might. But
Yep.
boy, oh boy, Canadian teams are having a very rough start here. They must have all been watching the Jays game. Speaking of which, dumbest thing to ever happen was the Oilers throwing the friggin' Jays game on
Oh yeah, that
the
was weird.
stadium
Like a distraction.
jumbotron during play. Like, come on, we're better than that. I understand it's the Jays and it's the World Series, but the NHL is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you can't have your best player in the league sitting there saying, there was times in the middle of the game I'm sitting on the bench in my NHL game and I'm looking up watching the World Series game. Like, you can't have players not focused and doing it like that. It's just a multi-billion-dollar race. So cool that they did it. Appreciate it. Go Canada for that. Like, Jays are obviously a huge influence amongst the entire country, but tough look, man.
Yeah,
Tough
like
look.
I
And the
guess.
Oilers lost that night, and the Jays thought they walked off, and they didn't.
Oh yeah.
Like, what a night. What a night. So that was my last thing there. The Oilers stink right now. The Jays losing the World Series stinks. Auston Matthews' goal scoring rate stinks. What else you got? Your
My
butthole stink
my
too because
my lightning stink too. Well, I just like
we're having a
game,
battle.
dude.
We're battling. We're
One
battling.
thing one thing I do want to mention too, and back into like the point leaders is Cutter Gauthier has 10 rips.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Whoa.
tough one when you look at Anaheim for trading that one away. But is it though? Because I mean, you look at their
No,
return and
they
how.
got him. They got Cutter Gauthier.
Oh, sorry, Philly.
Philly.
Excuse me.
Philly, yeah.
Philly getting rid of them. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But obviously the trade in return. I mean, it seems to be working for both teams because
Yeah.
obviously Gauthier is fitting in very nicely with the Ducks. They're 8-3-1 to start. But there's certainly Philly as a whole, I think, is one of those teams where they're just kind of in that middle ground there too. So yeah, definitely cool to see some other names doing really well. Pinto, obviously, to start the year was doing really well, obviously, too. Nick McKinnon, Draisaitl, Caulfield, Hughes, and Gauthier are all tied for the league lead with 10 goals. Crosby 9, Scheifele 9, Bo Horvat 9, Morgan
I
Geeky
have Bo.
9.
I have Bo in fantasy. I was like, what the fuck? He's
Yeah,
at
really
7?
good start. That's what I mean, man. New York, they're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and that's obviously shown throughout their roster, right? So, um, I think that we'll wrap it up here tonight, buddy.
Yeah.
Obviously, too, like I said, we're getting into Team Canada prediction zone. The next couple weeks are going to be very impactful for that. Cross your fingers. There's no injuries. That goes
Mhm.
for USA, Finland, Sweden, too. I want to see the best of the best when it comes to Olympic hockey.
Agreed.
Hopefully we get the Kachucks back too. Hate saying it, but honestly, they're good for the game. And yeah, man. And like I said, thanks for jumping on tonight. Is there anything else in particular you wanted to talk about here?
No, I think we're good to wrap her up. Our little squad here is gonna possibly go see the Sports Card Expo in Toronto. Will be a very good opportunity, especially for memorabilia too. The place is crazy. It's got like almost 500 vendors. Just to see what people have. Like, there's some really cool stuff there, and I'm looking to dump some cards now with Zegras point per game right now. I might just try and dump all my Zegras rookie cards. Try and get like 30, $40 a pop if I can.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening and sees us there or wants to reach out to meet up for a couple autographs or anything like that, I'd be happy to do so.
Yeah, we'll see at the
You bring
autograph booth
you
at the
bring the
show.
Sharpie because I can't afford that these days, and I'm
Nyes
just
gonna
fucking
be
with you.
there. Matthew
Oh,
Nyes is gonna be there. Same with Tucker. We should go talk to
is he?
Darcy.
Okay, cool.
That'd
So
be
so
cool.
yeah, so if you guys are there, anybody listening, like I said, feel free to reach out. You can get us at Instagram, TikTok, whatever, even just send us direct messaging too.
Yep.
We'd be happy to meet up as well too. Otherwise, everybody have a good rest of the week, good weekend. Chat with you here now that we're back. Got new zone set up here, so that took a little while. Unfortunately, a couple things
Good.
with family and whatnot too, but we're back into it. Thanks again, brother, for meeting up,
Yep.
chatting here.
Yes,
Tough
sir.
end of the Jays year, but there's always next year, as they say. In the words of the Bad News Bears, see you next year, bitches. Um, another edition, as always, of the Soft Dump in the Corner podcast presented by North Six Sports. Until next time.